pusher here because I'm like, okay, I mean, this is like the hardest group you could ever get put in as a North American team. It really doesn't get much trickier. So at the end of the day, I don't think Clutch have embarrassed themselves by any means, but why not go out with a win? Why not pull off an upset and actually throw this group even further into turmoil?
Yeah, and I think that it's just going to be playing Clutch style and seeing what can happen on the day. They've already said that against teams that they feel like they're better than, they will play slow, drawn out, methodical. But when they feel like they have to roll the dice, this is a team that's willing to do it. We've already seen one comp with the top lane Kiana. See if they have something else.
But let's rewind to SKT versus Clutch in the first round robin, where they really put the pain on Huni, who talked about wanting to take out the current SKT top laner as a former SKT top laner, and they really just rolled all over Clutch Gaming in a quick 26-minute game. However, their recent quick game was a loss against Fnatic, so picking up the pieces here. You see the Quinn ban, you assume a Renekton first pick, draws the Renekton ban from Clutch, but it leaves the Akali available that has actually been rising in terms of pick ban priority in the last couple of days.
Yeah, it turns out no matter how many times you nerf this champion, she is still really, really, really strong and has been played to such a high level. The skill expression on Akali is just insane. However, I do want to talk about the fact that this is always the scariest time to get a legitimate Worlds contender. You know, they were cruising through group stage. They were just minding their own business, taking down opponents, and then they got upset by Fnatic. And you never want to poke the bear. And right now, Fnatic's happy. They don't have to deal with the bear anymore. They don't play the bear, even if they make the quarterfinal run. However, Clutch now have to deal with the bear.
But it's a very irritating game to play from the SKT perspective, because they really just want to be done and watching Fnatic and RNG play. Yeah. That's kind of what they're looking for, and yet you're playing against a team with nothing to lose, everything to gain, and that puts you in this moment where Huni gets a couple of kills, starts shouting, and even then, things can really get to you.
I know during the course of yesterday's broadcast, I think it was Jia was talking a lot about how teams, when they are eliminated, the pressure is then off, it is alleviated, it allows you to take some plays that maybe you normally wouldn't do, and as we round up phase one of the draft, Xayah is locked in, Rakan is still available if they want the Lovers duo.
And it's this very World's second week centric schedule of playing 3 teams in one day. Yes, teams play up to 5 in a best of 5, but that's against the same team. This is always going to be the scenario where they probably prep by far the least for Clutch Gaming, hoping they already had the group done before their 6th and final game. Shout out to Reginald, I guess, here with the Teemo hover. But we'll see what actually gets locked in here for Clutch.
Now, what do you make of the Skarner, Ryze, Ezreal? I know Skarner for Lyra is a big comfort pick, but it's a little bit of a departure, and Skarner's not a champion we've seen a whole lot of, especially in the second half of groups.
Yeah, probably the best jungle and solo lane matchup into the Akali, however, unless you're an insane LeBlanc player, and obviously that can't go top lane. So they've got a team fight answer for the Akali. Just ult her up with the Skarner, make her build a QSS. Both of those things are not what you want to be able to deal with. And then, obviously, the Ryze being able to chase the Akali around lane also has a very good matchup.
And it's, like you mentioned, a super comfort pick for Lyra. I thought he was a bit disconnected on the Rek'Sai last time out. The Rek'Sai KO duo wasn't coming together. However, it invites a pre-level 6 pick to try to bully the jungle from Clid, and that is always something very scary to opt into. The Elise, for example, is so far unpicked and unbanned.
Yeah, it certainly could be the case, and I do want to talk about the other side of the Rek'Sai Kayle matchup, because how many games do you have to pick Kayle and get to the 3-item point where she's supposed to be this strong champion, where you get to level 16 and she's supposed to be unstoppable, and then you still can't win team fights on this champion? Maybe the priority has been a little bit misjudged by these teams. Scrim culture is always something we talk about, and I would like to see Clutch maybe go away from the pick in this game.
I agree. If you jam Kayle here, you're basically saying, well, 30 minutes would be lovely, and the last game time was 26 between these two teams, so would be ultra bold. That is how the meta goes. Remember, we had Orianna for a couple of days there, and she's also bid a farewell to the tournament meta so far. Final ban here. Huni's already absorbed multiple bans. Could be on the Ryze duty, but Morgana actually going to be the final ban here towards Vulcan.
And of course, that Kayle is still open and available if the trap card is to be activated. And there's one we've seen a few times. What would you like to see Clutch Gaming rounding out their draft with?
I want to see them pick up something for Vulcan to flex. Give me a Pike, give me a Thrasher or a Nautilus, some form of hook champion down there in the bottom lane. I feel like much in the same way that you just can't allow RNG to scale against you, Teddy is a similar kind of player. The laser, going to be able to set up in a lot of these team fights. You give him 3 items, he's just as dangerous as Uzi.
And the theory here is that Cody Sun can be left on a bit of an island, and maybe Volker can roam up and help with the 3v3s in mid lane or the ganks in top side. Not normally the way Cody Sun and Vulcan play. They usually play full lane 2v2 style. Waiting to see the round of the draft. We already talked about how Elise was open, and how about some more pick tools? Galio follow-up to the Rakan engage seems on point.
Certainly doesn't. It would also give a good 1-3-1 for SKT, although Camille also fits that build very well. So I think what we're seeing right now is the fact that Ezreal, Nautilus, Skarner, how do you get on them in mid lane? You probably don't, is the answer to that question. So you need another way to be able to separate the map and split them up, and I think that SKT might have just got a draft to do that.
I do wonder if maybe it's in the return of the Camille mid lane. If this was Griffin, they'd be playing Camille mid lane with the Elise jungle and just making it so the enemy mid laner can never walk up. No draft here. This would be probably Ezreal mid lane. The Heimerdinger is locked in.
Now, of course, I do like the Heimer when you consider Elise, Camille, Akali, Rakan want to be jumping on you. If you can land some of that CC and you can get one of those mega turrets down, there are some tools for clutch.
Yeah, and this is a kill lane, I think. If you hook Rakan out of his engage, he's going down. Like, he is one of the squishiest engaged champions. Doesn't run Aftershock, will run Guardian, and obviously the layering of CC between a Heimerdinger as well as a Nautilus should be enough to get that job done.
And also means the grenade very likely to hit if Nautilus opening up the CC chain, so Merc treads seem very, very strong, and it is a nice response to the Camille. Confirmation that SK Telecom T1 will be taking Camille into the mid lane as the swaps continue, and Hooney's found another 80 carry to play in the top lane.
Well, it wasn't the Lucian, it wasn't the Tristana today. What do you think of Ezreal versus Akali?
I think that's a rough one. I think that Ezreal likes to play slightly off the minion wave. However, Akali is a very slippery champion that has the 100-0 potential of an assassin without even needing Ignite.
I'm with you on that one, Spawn. You can follow up with the E, of course. You also have all the dashes, so this is going to be a tricky laning phase topside, but isn't it a Hooney move?
Yeah, it certainly is, and I mean, if anyone is going to be willing to throw the gauntlet, it is going to be Hooney.
We're hitting the rift for SK Telecom versus Clutch Gaming. This should, in theory, be the last game of the group stage for both respective teams, but obviously if Clutch pull off that upset win and Fnatic are victorious over RNG, there will be a tiebreaker game for first and second seed. So SK Telecom are looking to lock in that first seed by putting Clutch down.
Not dissuaded by running down bot lane for the 5v5 playground battle that Kobe anointed earlier. Still going to do that. You want to get the lane control as much as possible when Heimerdinger's there and can potentially put down some turrets level 1. But it wasn't a full team involvement on the side of Clutch, and SKT just disengaged from it. They're top side for now as the level 1 plays out.
And this is going to be interesting to me to see what Clutch play for. As a Heimerdinger, you love to start in lane. You get permanent priority by being able to do so. And Skarner is one of the best tank junglers at being able to solo clear. However, you can see the priority is going to be on getting Lyra that better early game start.
Wants to power farm as quick as possible. Really no synergy between Skarner and Ezreal in the early game. Pre-level 6, so almost no potential to visit that lane. The Rise, a little bit more fortuitous potentially, but it's Skarner. We always know the play pattern that it will fall into.
And now I'm going to be interested to see how this top lane plays out, because Ezreal, when he expends mana on the creep wave, going to stack up that passive, get a lot of attack speed. So he should be able to control the wave. However, I just think that if he doesn't get it completely into turret, this should be an area that Clid can attack early in the game, and Hooney is going to have to be very good at timing the crashes of his waves.
It's very rare you see Ezreal in a long lane without a support. You know, bot lane is a long lane, but the support's there. Mid lane is short, so Arcane Shift Flash is basically the entire lane. With how mobile Akali is, even more mobile than a champion like Ezreal, there is legit chase down in this lane, and where that actually bears fruit is that Ezreal's not so strong at trying to reset a wave that's just frozen out. of Khan's turret. So if it starts to push towards Khan's top lane turret, you have to get in there with auto attacks, build up your passive, shoot out your Q, and it takes a lot of time. You don't have AoE wave clear outside of your ultimate, and that's where if Klid shows up, might be bad news for Clutch.
I actually love the breakdown you've just presented, Papa Smithy, because I also want to see what Huni's decision-making is going to be against the likes of Klid on this Elise. The tower dive potential can be somewhat thwarted when you add the Arcane Shift and Flash into the combination, so a lot of outplay and misplay potential in the top lane. If you look at the minimap, Damonte has already left the lane. Huni dropped to 200 hit points, and Khan starts to step back. Is now Damonte making his way up on that rise.
So you can see it's going to be a team effort. Already Damonte rotating up towards the top side of the map. Obviously, he's going to have the superior push over something like a Camille, but it looks like the Nightmare scenario is happening in the top lane.
All right, a little bit of engage there onto Cody's son, stepping into those turrets. Teddy will continue to chase forward. Now Klid, the Cocoon will find Vulcan, gets caught out, the Fangs are sunk in, holding on to the flash. That's a great stun from Cody's son. Vulcan stays alive. He didn't expend the Summoner spell. Ignite was used, and Cody's son steps forward. Not enough mana just yet.
And one of my favorite things in casting is when you can just see a play that lines up with your solo queue experience, and everyone knows that if you don't kill Heimer straight away, he is so damn annoying to deal with in these lanes. The amount of return damage there from Cody was so impressive.
Because you just don't account for minions and turrets and auto attacks outside of just the spells from Vulcan and Cody-san. But returning to his Raptor camp, going to clean that one out, as it's Skarner trying to help the push-in for the Ezreal.
And so much kudos to Vulcan. He didn't panic flash at all, understood the cooldowns had been used for the upfront damage, and he backed away. Vulcan, despite a few questionable Pyke engages, has had a very solid end to his group stage.
And because there's no Ignite in that lane after it was burnt very early, the damage is very predictable. So Vulcan would know with his W would be able to survive that. Damonte under fire.
Hook shot into Cocoon, and Klid makes that look easy.
Downtown there in the mid lane, Damonte can set up similar ganks, but one CC hits. Talked about the power of that mid lane Camille. Used to be paired with Sejuani, but this Elise version's even more bursty.
Yeah, really nice split there from Effort to walk back into the brush. However, that dissuaded a lot of the aggression down bottom. That is a frozen wave. And if they're going to go back now, teleport coming in is going to be quite difficult to deal with.
Honestly, Lyra probably doesn't feel that bad about walking up and pushing waves and sapping experience, because it gets him closer to 6, and he doesn't necessarily have a lot of gank pressure. Elsewhere, we're going to watch the replay here. It's all about all the hookshot angles. Moment Damonte is tagged by one. Watch the CC bar. There was no opportunity to clash.
Yeah, and it's just really nice follow-up from Klid. Once again, knowing his damage, knowing he has to burn the flash, otherwise that's going to be Rice walking away from that gank. And now, the fact that they've already taken him down once, we'll see whether this pickup of the Tiamat is going to be enough for Faker to be able to start pushing out this lane and match Damonte's roams.
Well, he's got enough damage for now. Take a look at that one combo into the sweep shots, and that's a lot of damage onto Damonte. Klid looking for yet another gank. Flash and Arcane Shift is used. Again, it's clinical, it's clean, it's flawless.
I just don't know whether you can create enough distance to outrun Nikali as an Ezreal, and there is no itemization to stop that from happening in the game.
And I want to come back to your previous analysis about the lane matchup, because I was there with you. I don't know about this one. The main reason for that is that every time the Akali W is available, you put it down, and Ezreal can't interact because he can't Mystic Shot through a minion wave. It's so easy to get Q trades down while Ezreal gets out-damaged, and he needs mana to try to trade. You're just throwing down Qs, and eventually jungle comes up, and it's very easy.
And Papa, the other thing is when we talk about lanes, often it's about the options you have, how you can play aggressively. And I just feel like Khan has so many more options, the ability to use the Shroud, dive forward, then look for the E-Register, or just fish in the laning phase. Doesn't really look like Huni has control of the wave, doesn't have push advantage, or doesn't have the kill threat.
Well, Vulcan doesn't have the dredge line there. Manages to catch it into the minion wave, throws out the Riptide just to try and push the wave back. But I do like how Vulcan is stepping forward. He's threatening and engage at all times and just creating space for Cody's son to work.
See, now this is a lane with option. The ability to lay a CC, set up kills. You have the Summoner spell there in the Ignite to be able to take down something like Isaiah and Rakan as well. I think this is the lane that Lyra, now that he has registered level 6, should look to play towards.
So what you're saying, Riot Broadcast team does not endorse top lane Ezreal versus Akali.
I do not endorse, as I will not speak for Riot, as a freelancer, I do not endorse top lane
That's
Ezreal.
fair. We could have spoken for Riot.
On behalf of Riot Games, I do not endorse Ezreal top versus
tapped it. Thank you there,
I
Trevor.
will tap that one for sure. And now we just need to see what Clutch can do. They're 1,000 gold down. 2 kills already secured for Clid. Take a look at the gold already in favor of Clid and Faker. And again, the hook shot into Diamante. Precision Protocol and Tiamat alone. 60% of his HP without even throwing down the ultimate.
And in a melee versus range matchup, Faker has had the majority of lane control here. And in these moments, even when the level 6 comes through from Skarner, it's like, where does the action happen? It kind of has to be bot side from a Clutch perspective. Is it get a kill?
And the layering of CC.
Really nicely done. Spawn loses his mind on the desk as Vulcan gets caught out and sunk down by Clid once again.
Still a 1-for-1 trade, and I just love to see the execution of the plan. You know you have the CC to go for it, so they posture aggressively for the vision and catch out effort.
And they didn't need the Skarner ultimate to make it happen, so theoretically, another area that might be attacked. Clid turns on to the Cloud Drake. Taken off guard by how quickly effort went down. The bone plating had already expired at this point. And yep, just gets exploded.
Yeah, it's going to happen every single time that CC first registers. There is just so much damage that comes out of the combo.
Yeah, and so much additional CC as well. Depending on who lands that first hit between the grenade, all the dredge line, the auto attack, etc. So the kill was actually picked up by Vulcan in that bottom lane. CS-wise, it's still even between Cody-san and Teddy. And now Cody-san's under some threat as Clid and Effort step forward, but they're not going to look for any engage.
SKT's biggest win is having this bot side river prio, as Rakan has been able to roam through the river much easier than Vulcan's. We thought maybe Hyman pushes in, Vulcan walks up, and suddenly melee Camille can't play the freeze game. But this has actually been a purple patch of action for SKT as they keep zoning Rise away from the minion line.
And this is what happens when you lose control of the mid-jungle 2v2. We've already spoken about how far ahead Clid is and the fact that Lyra did just have to farm for that level 6. Now he has got it, still hasn't been able to impact any change on the map, and that just means that you can never walk up and down river. You're not going to be able to look for these favorable skirmishes with proactive numbers because you should always be playing from the back foot.
And then you're mostly a Nautilus cooped up next to a Heimer that can interact with the minion wave from range without much of your help. So for now, at least, that needs to be the focus here. Just pop the Predator, try to get control wards down and control that area. Otherwise, Faker will just continue to build a CS lead. It's not massive by any means, but given the context of the matchup and the inevitability of 2-item Camille in the side lane, really isn't something CG is comped to deal with in the mid to late game.
It's going to be terrifying, and Lyra has got that Predator available. He's got the upgraded jungle item. A number of members across the game have already backed and thrown down some of those teleports. Only Khan has his available, for example. So there's that power creep that is starting to come in, and Lyra is still looking for an opportunity to use that Impale.
Yeah, he certainly is, and I just want to keep building on the issues with the rise into this Camille, because normally if you have a mid lane Camille and it gets a little bit out of hand, you say, don't worry about it. Huni will deal with him later. It's not my problem. But Huni's playing the Ezreal this game, and I don't think that matchup gets any better for Huni either.
I'm with you. I have the same exact read, and that's why top side is very unlikely to pivot anytime soon. That's just so hard to gank, even for a Skarner. You look at the lanes, and unless Camille uses hookshot, you're not going to be killing her. Top side already, we've outlined the problems, so kind of needs to be playing through bot. Speaking of bot, they've rotated top side. Remember, we are Clutch Gaming, so...
Yeah, exactly. It's past 10 minutes, which means you have to look at the Rift Herald. So I'm going to ask both of you now to start reviewing how Clutch play around this. They already started posturing towards the objective, but SKT had some defensive vision. They had numbers around as well. So no real attempt from Clutch, but it was at least dissuaded by SKT's presence.
Well, the issue there, Quickshot, was the fact that they didn't start with any of the waves pushing. So that meant that it was going to take an extra set of minion waves to be able to shove out. Now, sure, you get advantage over the Herald, but they're already on your turret. They're already looking to siege it down and taking away additional creeps.
Seems like SKT aren't too worried about Rift Herald. It will be slow if it is started. They'd much rather zone away. Ezreal on bot side. Huni once again had to be on weak side. They're going to power down this turret, but will be at the cost of the Rift Herald.
And absolutely will. What can Clutch use this Rift Herald for? They're already down 2,000 gold. That bottom lane tower will fall very shortly as Cody-san throws out the Super Soaker onto Khan. That will disengage him for now.
Uh-oh.
Not quite sure that was the way the blast cone was supposed to go, but Khan with a very easy hop over the wall to escape.
So that is a really nice play from SKT. They don't give up anything on the top side of the map. If Khan had died, it would have been a disaster. But all Herald really is a couple of free plays. If you can generate that without having to go for the fight, statistically,
Oh, this is a lot of trouble for Damonte. Forced to flash. Hextech Ultimatum wasn't even used. Minion wave seems to have been cleared out for now, and Khan is going to get body blocked by the minions from some of that burst damage. The charge comes out from Shelly. Her eye gets poked, and Khan should be able to clear this one up before the tower even goes down. That is a major loss for Clutch.
Yeah, it certainly is, and because they had to expend so many members and so much of their time to be able to do that, you can see Faker burns a summoner spell mid lane. They grab another 2 plates there. That is going to be 3 plates in the top lane for all 5 bottom and 2 mid. My math isn't great, but that is certainly not a favorable trade.
Not at all. And that was where they had an outnumber, and they didn't wait for the minion wave to even try to zone away. Can't, so he just ended up being able to repel the push, keep it at 2 plates. That gold lead from plates is pretty damn real. SKT only now get their full reset.
It spiked 2,000 gold, Papa Smithy. It was a 1k lead at 11 minutes when that Rift Herald play started. Now it's just over 2.5. Clutch Gaming are trying to threaten around the Infernal. They've got a numbers advantage. They've pushed SKT back and also pushed the wave in. Damonte's got teleport available if he wants to back and shop, but SKT are not giving this one up. Teleport coming in from Khan on the back line. He's going to get chased down. Lyra, will he expend the flash? Predator has been used. Chasing down Khan's Akali, and there's nothing going to come from it.
And you can just see, great read on the play from SKT. They knew that all they had to do was pull them off the dragon. They're once again going back to mid lane, trying to get the push, trying to make Clutch make the tough decisions. Clutch once again start up the dragon, but you can see the flanks are already here.
All right, where does the engage come from? Vulcan sitting onto that ultimate. SK Telecom, they've grouped up from the south. Dredgeline will not find a target as the Infernal drops to 2/3 HP. SKT still trying to buy some time. Look at Effort sitting behind the Dragon Pit. He's going to take the blast go. Now Clutch will pick up the Infernal. Dredgeline catches onto Clid, but it's at Vulcan's cost. His life is down. Support for support. Hextech Ultimatum thrown up by Faker as he's locked up Damonte. Some damage thrown down as Khan and Faker running through Clutch Gaming. Damonte is finished off and Clid decides not to chase further.
SKT's focus in the fight was on point, taking down the evolved turret instantly before it could just continue to free fire. They pick their targets. They don't pick up the Infernal, but the reset from Clutch Gaming may be at the cost of mid lane turret HP.
However, they did lose out in a little bit of experience top lane. And I think that this is one of those times where you take a kill deficit for an Infernal Dragon, you're already 3,000 gold behind. You can't get that much worse. The Infernal's going to give you some much needed stats. I would say Clutch Gaming fans would probably take that as a victory. It looked like it could be so much worse. An additional kill coming across here would have meant the mid lane turret falling down, but Clutch seemed to come out with an okay trade.
So Spawn, if Clutch Gaming fans would take that as a victory, 2 questions. Number 1, are you a Clutch Gaming fan?
Yes, I actually do like Clutch a lot.
Therefore, do you take that as a victory?
Oh, we missed this, by the way.
After, while we're in the replay, Cody-san also concedes his life. It's now a 5,000 gold deficit.
Look, I'm not going to take that one as a victory because that one was a little bit dodgy. However, top lane.
All right, Realm Warp is coming out. There's no Impale. There's no Flash. And Damonte actually takes a turret shot for his troubles. Clutch, they're after 15 minutes, find themselves in a gigantic deficit. And for SK Telecom, this is the final nail in the coffin for not only Clutch, but for guaranteeing that first seed out of group.
All right, I'm going to put my lawyer hat on real quickly here. However, you do have Arise, one of the biggest builders of maximum AP, so he's going to scale very well off something like an Infernal Drake. You have yourself the Heimerdinger, going to be a very similar build there. So I think stats-wise, if you compared the gold of just the it would certainly be a worthwhile Drake, but it's always what more are you giving up? Where are the positions? What experience are you losing? Did you lose vision and the chance to set up over the side of the map you wanted? So obviously, it's not going to be advantageous. It never is when you die, but it is still a nice piece of resource to take.
And I appreciate your glass half full, but I try to be pragmatic. Who is the person that shows up next to the Akali? I don't have an answer to that on the side of Clutch Gaming. I don't think it is the Rise at this particular junction, still working on first item finish here. Camille is close to also her 2 items that she's cutting in between in the inventory here, so I understand where you're coming from, but I feel like the full extent of SKT's anger will be felt very short.
And normally, Demonte seems like a pretty decisive guy. When he sees his flanks, he knows what he wants. He goes for it very quickly. However, the build maybe suggests some hesitation today. Like, do I want the start of my Archangels? What am I itemizing towards right now? And it does seem to be a little bit of the variety bucket of League of Legends.
Yeah, whenever you go thrift store shopping, it takes a while before you find that real, standout item. And as is the case for now, 0-2-1 on Demonte's rise. Clutch have now lost their second tower of the game. Cody Sun's doing his best to protect this mid-outer. He cannot keep it alive for much longer. And this will be the final game of groups here for Clutch. The pressure is on. And just remember, they lost the previous game to RNG because RNG snuck a Baron in the mid-game. Now, Clutch are in a significantly larger gold deficit, and they cannot afford the same mishaps. But they have less vision, less control, less ability to fight, so it's a much more difficult situation.
Yeah, and they're just not equal in gold, right? So it means that they're going to be fighting from a stats disadvantage. Khan takes away another blue, that's just insult to injury. And I don't want to start reading the eulogies too soon, but I feel like Cody has had a pretty impressive Worlds. This is a guy that is now at Worlds for the third time on his third team, and has been, to me, one of the beacons for Clutch as they stood up. He's had another fairly good laning phase here against SKT's bottom lane, who we saw go toe-to-toe with Uzi and Ming. And gonna need to dig deep here for Cody if he can find a way back into this game.
Late game win condition of him on a 6-item marksman is out the window, obviously, with the Heimerdinger here. And to me, the struggle is, yes, they opted into the Skarner matchup, so early jungle pressure was always going to be very easily in the hands of SKT, and we've already talked about the lane matchups that really helped that out as well. But the problem now is we're not seeing Lyra plus Vulcan establish a strong side for Clutch. It feels like SKT go wherever they want, and then Clutch is finding it very difficult to fight back, and that's why the top and mid lane turrets were pretty bloodlessly taken.
And more good news for Clutch Gaming fans, because Klid has been nice enough to throw so much of his gold away, Papa Smithy. He's gone for a Morellonomicon when he should have probably gone for a different item.
But there's healing on Rise, sort of, a little bit.
I'm just confused.
I absolutely love that. We'll actually have to have like a legitimate content series after the World Championships where we asked all the pro players their decision-making trees that leads to
really
the right
needed an amp tome in his inventory.
Well, I can't remember who actually put the tweet out, but it was just like some item choices are not, preference. They're just like purely mathematically correct or incorrect at certain junctions. And pro players do at times, having worked with a couple of teams, struggle to know the difference in those things. So I think that some itemization analysis does need to be done.
Hey, that math is real complicated. Now, actually, I'll ask Freak to help clarify some of those numbers because I know I'm not qualified to do it. Well, listen, we're 20 minutes in. The gold lead is growing more and more, 5.5K. 2 items being completed. Many members across the board. Importantly for Demonte, Archangels is completed now, so that's a big spike. And he can survive some of that burst damage that'll come out from Khan or Faker individually. But if both of them or Klid decide to jump in, that's going to be a problem.
Watching here is Clutch lie in wait. Remember, Skarner has his Righteous Glory done, but actually, for once, you could actually look at the choice of trinkets coming out of Clutch. They tell you a tail. They have no warding trinket. They have 3 sweepers trying to look for a pick and then trying to spot with the blue trinket. That means they don't permanently control vision anywhere they don't have a control ward.
Yeah.
And that just means they're kind of being fanciful, waiting for an enemy position mistake rather than fighting and trading for vision.
Well, Clutch Gaming just went fishing. They threw the True Shot Barrage into that Electro Storm, the rockets rather, from Cody Sun. Throwing it down, trying to find something, and Faker jumps onto Demonte, got a level lead for now. Got a 30 CS advantage as well, but Demonte's able to escape. Got that phase rush, got that flash available to him. And Clutch Gaming's all about turtling now. Buckle down, shore up your defenses, and effort will get caught out, but will there be a kill? All right, there's the ultimate being thrown down. Stopwatch is used. Look at the minimap. Here comes Faker. Here comes Klid. Klid will almost solo Cody Sun. Huni decides to jump on him with those Mystic shots, one after the other. This has been enough of a diversion tactic to stop effort going down, and at the same time, Khan is putting damage into that bottom inner turret.
Yeah, really nice job there from the rest of SKT to help their support out, but I feel like effort probably shouldn't be backing in that kind of position. You've got to find yourself a pink ward or at least some cover of the brush. But Khan's still getting more job done in the bottom lane, and this is what I was speaking about. The map just feels so small right now if you are Clutch. They're looking for their moves. See if this is one.
All right, Chilling Smite comes down. Good flash by Khan keeps him alive. Impale was available. The only person that's paid the Skarn attacks thus far is Teddy, and a 22-minute Baron has been started by SKT.
They put all the work into controlling this red side jungle, and CG try to invade it. They will be spotted on vision. To your point about the map feeling narrow, if you look at CS numbers and do some quick maths, 30 CS lead in top, 30 CS lead from the jungle, 40 CS lead from the mid lane, and another 40-50 CS lead from the AD carry role, you can tell there's just been multiple creep waves that Clutch Gaming weren't able to get access to. That's about 150 CS odd worth of free gold that they just haven't been able to get to, because, and I think that plays into things like their trinket choices, because they're saying, let's just get a pick. Let's go all in on one person. Around that, while you're setting up for that one pick, another minion wave is being denied.
Well, Papa Smithy, feels like Clutch are only playing with 1/3 of the lane. They can't really push much deeper than that inner turret, and Faker is able to escape with that hook shot. Manages to put some distance between himself and Vulcan. Vulcan, despite landing the Q, didn't have any further follow-up. And just every time Clutch are looking for a pick, are looking for someone to fight, somebody on SKT is getting an advantage. And this time around, Khan takes the tower.
And they're just frustrating them to victory right now. You can see that Clutch want to generate a pick. They want to fight someone. But SKT, and this is what Frost was saying on the analyst desk, they're not going to give them that benefit. They know they can win this game through being completely uninteractive with their opponents. And it looks like that's a mission.
At the end of the day, the only way you can force someone to fight you is to start an objective and force them to respond to it. Clutch Gaming aren't strong enough to start up a Baron here, tank it up, and do it in any decent amount of speed. Now, they saw a recall. There's a chance you just YOLO and hope for the best, but this is kind of the predicament Clutch is in. The Mega Turret from the Heimerdinger can be an MVP here, and they're going to try something.
Absolutely is the case. Clutch Gaming are starting off Baron, looking at the minimap. No responses just yet. Baron's down to 50%. Teleport's finally coming in. Faker's going to be joining the fray, so is Khan. Ultimate from Nautilus goes out. Clutch Gaming have got the Baron, but can they get out alive? 1, 2, 3. North Americans are down. SKT only lose 1, and Huni is running for his life.
4 kills already. Huni will be able to escape. They actually do have the Baron speed to take it down, but of course not without significant casualties.
But that was so close. Demonte's ultimate nearly was able to channel and get off, and I like the gusto and the try from Clutch. They're going to lose their base here. There are 4 members dead, but you felt like the game was turning into an inevitability, and at least now there's no Baron for SKT to take away.
They made it about what they wanted to do rather than SKT bleed them out. So I'm with you, Spawn. I'll take some form of trying to control my own destiny.
Yeah.
Clutch Gaming, 1 Baron left on Huni is all they come away with.
And you can see how quickly they do it, why they think they can get this Baron off. However, it is going to be effort clipping the back end, then a huge stun off the Hextech wall dive there from Faker. Ultimately, he will be the member of SKT that falls down. The 4 members now denied that Baron buff, but I do want to say that that is now a long time where the turtle is much easier. Heimerdinger is very good at controlling waves, of keeping you off the turret, one of the hardest champions to dive, and now without a Baron, it's going to be significantly harder to break the base.
Absolutely the case. Now, the thing that Clutch Gaming can't afford to do is have the wrong lane assignments. They have to have those turrets or those respective members ready to catch whatever SKT is bringing towards them. Just very quickly, before that Baron went up, there was a graphic on your screen. Immediately after this, the battle for the quarterfinals between Fnatic and RNG. The winner of that game will advance to the quarterfinals in Madrid, Spain, and that will conclude this game.
Small caveat, if SK Telecom managed to close this game out.
I think that's a big caveat. I maybe would have used the word when, personally.
Okay.
Because I don't quite have the silver lining, but maybe I should be eating my words, because the Baron empowered Ezreal top, being piloted by Huni, will finally open up that mid-outer turret. That's the second of the game in favor of Clutch. Look at Khan coming from the east, making his way to the mid lane, while Faker was able to push the top lane tower down. I mean, look, it would be a monumental comeback. But if Clutch can stall and delay long enough, there is a chance.
There's always a chance. There's always hope, ladies and gentlemen. Even when everything seems so dark and grim and you've only got your base to defend at 26 minutes in the game, you can always hold on for a miracle.
I mean, after this, it's home, right?
Spawn, becoming a father has changed you.
It really has.
This positive outlook on life and silver linings. You used to be bitter like me.
I mean, you just don't want to write this team off because they have shown throughout the entirety of their regular season that they can challenge that convention and they are willing to kind of subvert people's opinions of them. Not as much as in SK Telecom, to be fair. However, you can see that they are still, once again, refusing to play SKT's lane. You mentioned it's all going to be about the lane assignments. Well, Clutch's response to that was group mid, try and push something down, try and get some skerrick of an advantage.
Yeah, and we'll see whether or not pushing outside the base is going to help out here. Again, 28 minutes on the clock. Keep your eyes on those itemization. Bloodthirster was just picked up by Huni. And Khan is making his way towards that mid lane. The 1-3-1 has been the name of the game for SK Telecom, and CG are trying to attack that. They're pushing out mid, and they're trying to challenge Khan.
Because we already mentioned it. No one can go with Akali. No one can go with Camille at this stage of the game. So there is no 1-3-1 for Clutch. They either live by the team fight or they die by the team fight. And you can see that Faker, Khan, they know exactly that.
They almost want the Infernal to spawn sooner so they have somewhere very clear to fight around, because for now, like you say, the 3-lane play is more than they can really deal with. CS leads only grows, soon to be a flame horizon between the bot laners as Khan.
Oh, he's looking for Devontae. Realm Warp comes out. The shield keeps him alive. And
He's
there
going.
goes Khan. Decides against it because of the support from Clutch. Now clearly stepping forward. Effort and Teddy coming around the corner. And the turret actually ate that cocoon, I think. Or may have just been the volatile spiraling. Either way, Khan nearly bit off more than he could chew.
And you can just see the damage that is available. If the mini stun was still in the kit, probably would have been a kill picked up there. Reinforcements arriving in time. But the danger is if that keeps happening in a side lane, you don't have the strength of numbers to be able to set up your vision. So even if you want to fight around an objective, you're face checking into this Fed 5-0-3 Elise. And I think that, you know what, they're going to have to probably look on this Infernal Dragon because the items still keep rolling across. And it's not like this SKT lineup lacks anything in the scaling department.
Baron will be spawning around the same time as well, so a lot of headaches potentially. And I don't think Clutch will want to trade Infernal for Baron. Faker himself looking to get his old teammate and take him down, but Nautilus lying in wait.
Listen, I have to ask a question on behalf of SK Telecom. What time is it? Because I see 1, 2, 3 stopwatches sitting in the hands of SK Telecom. Mercurial Scimitar and then the QSS for Teddy and Effort. So Skarner is going to have a very difficult time trying to find an Impale. And if anyone is at risk of going down, that one team fight that Clutch might need for the Baron to claw themselves back into this game gets exponentially more difficult.
And it's definitely a cheaper QSS in this particular case that builds to more relevant items. They're hoping they can't be burst out during the 1.75 second suppression. But given all of that, Baron about to respawn. Clutch still don't really control, honestly, the entrance to either neutral. Let's wait and see what SKT's first move is here, because Clutch will take anything resembling a grouped fight.
And I have to give credit to Clutch Spawn. You talked about the resilience, the ability to defend. Frankly, I didn't believe it. But we're 3, 4, 5 minutes later, and while that gold gap is marginally higher, Clutch, they are making a bold call into Baron.
Here we go, they're going to do it again.
Oh man, here come SKT. Faker's gonna be able to hook shot over the wall, looking for the Hextech ultimatum. The Mega Turret is down. Huni has already killed Faker, but it is one cost because Clid has secured the Baron. Cody's son goes golden, and this fight is scattered across multiple fronts. SK Telecom get the Baron, and they get the kill.
And you can see SKT not going to fall for that trick. They will continue to chase Huni as well. They want to take down their former top laner.
He's going to try the TP here. I think Clid will get him.
Yeah, definitely the case. Cocoon into that venomous bite, and I give Clutch all the kudos in the world. They made the boldest and bravest call possible.
And it required a Baron steal from ahead with control over both objectives. SKT really literally were almost pickpocketed their entire lunch money. And they've been saving for a while. They were really looking forward to lunch today. Came through with the Realm Warp. There was no actual vision on the pit, was on all the entrances. Faker suicided just to give a chance for Clid to gap close.
And tales will be told of Clutch. What did we get, Faker? What did it cost? Absolutely everything, nearly in this case. However, they do take down the unkillable Demon King, but the rest of the party certainly more than strong enough to clean up.
Man, and you know what? It's one of those things where, in retrospect, you'll see this 0-5 expected 0-6 scoreline and be like, well, they got smashed, but it does not tell the story of the games. It does not tell the story of this last week and a half of World's Groups.
And I think it is more than fair to say, you know what, Clutch has been behind this whole game. However, they have tried to generate plays. You can see this is another one.
Is it though?
They're trying to generate the plays. Come with me, Papa Smithy.
Well, the grenade did not find its target. Baron empowered minions in the mid lane will break open the base at 32 minutes. That's the 7th tower of the game falling. Up in the top lane, Khan is shoving in. Uncontested for now until Demonte finally makes his way up. And Clutch, this defense gets so much more difficult now that there's Baron empowered minions.
And the world is just getting smaller and smaller, although Faker again.
All right, let's find out. Get over here. As Spawn said, what did we get, Faker? What did it cost? Everything! Faker still not yet dead, as he will take out Cody's son. There's the engage from Vulcan, and he goes down to Teddy. Inhibitors are being pressed, middle and bot. Top tower will be next. Baron empowered Siege is onto the Nexus, and Clutch Gaming will be eliminated. The first North American team to go winless in groups, but more importantly, SK Telecom guarantee the first seed coming out of groups.
And whilst a lot of fun, never really in doubt for the juggernauts from South Korea, SK Telecom will come out of this group in first place. And I think despite one hiccup, have very much shown that they are a team